All right, tonight I'm going to be painting this mountain scene that I shot that I took in North Carolina. I started this one like a few months ago, and I wasn't too happy with the way that it turned out. I think that the reference was a little bit too dark on my computer, so I brightened it up this time and I scraped down the board, which is why it looks a little scratchy. And then I'm gonna be, you know, painting back into this with a quite a limited palette. I just have like blue, green, red, violet, and yellow. So we'll see how this goes. I don't even really have like a blue for the sky or anything like that. So it should be pretty interesting. Right. I don't even know where to start. Probably gonna feel like I just should just scumble some white over the surface in the background anyway. Just to kind of brighten things up. I think the background should be like brighter overall. And because I'm going like more like high key with the background, I'm okay with just like covering it with white paint. Because I can always go back into it with the bluer tones of the sky and stuff. But right now I'm just kind of squinting my eyes a bit and kind of just getting the general value of the sky correct. Because now this is seeming like it's more of a brighter, lighter sky. It was extremely dark before, and I think that was what was bothering me about it. I just didn't push the values far enough when I was painting this initially. And skies are pretty bright, so. And I'm gonna mix some of these more shadow tones. Some magenta and the blue green. This is going to be quite challenging. I like to challenge myself a little bit because I don't have a blue. So it's going to be pretty interesting. See if I can't get a sort of blue color with this blue green I have. But the shadow in the clouds is kind of like this purpley color anyway. So I think it'll be easier. Which is kind of what I was missing in the first place with this one, is this more like purple gray tone here in the shadows of the clouds. I think this time I'm just going to go a little bit more sketchy with the clouds. Before I was trying to just like get them really nice and detailed, and still look too much, too cluttered. A little bit lighter in the shadow in this area. Now I'm just mixing the blue green with white to get more of like a blue color. Trying not to influence, get any of that violet in it. This is like a nice blue color here, a little bit more blue in there. Yeah, you add a little bit of white to like a blue green that looks really green, and it kind of just like cools it down quite a bit. And I think this more simplified palette is going to be much nicer for this painting. So this is going to be our new sky color. It's already feeling so much nicer than before. Like these clouds feel really fluffy, and that blue green in the back of the sky I think looks real good. I think it's important. Um, so I had a lot of texture in this painting in the first layer, and for me anyway, it's really important to scrape that down before I get into the painting, because I don't want to be influenced. I don't want my new brush strokes that I'm laying down to be like influenced by the ones underneath, uh, and like think that I have to go into a certain direction with the brush strokes. So I try to scrape it down as much as possible. All right, that's looking sweet. I love that like blue green color back there. This little mountain area, this little blue area down here is going to be a challenge, but I think I can get something close to that with just some really bright white in the blue, or the blue green. That's a pretty bright value down there. Oh yeah, that'll do just fine. You got to get that like glow back there of the horizon line. Little bit catch right there too, up into the shadows. This makes things much easier when I have a limited color palette to work with. Almost everything goes together. Like don't even have to try to make harmony. All right, I'm gonna come back in with the white color. just scumble over these areas. Some really intense white. Hit the top of that mountain there. Yeah, I think before I was just trying to, it's almost getting too close to the photograph when I should be like designing it a little bit better. Yeah, see how that white is just like blending in with all this stuff really nicely. So I wasn't like worried about going crazy with the white. Some of these nice darker areas in the clouds. And using some of the color underneath too to like, like to do that a lot to get the mid-tones in some areas. Some of this rim lighting, some of these clouds here. All right. Yeah, those look like they're glowing now. Want that like nice soft atmospheric feel. Yeah, that's a much brighter, intense sky now. And even though this is blue green, it still kind of reads as bluer down here than up here. Just kind of what I was looking for. But now I'm gonna mix some of a lighter blue sky color, some of the blue green. And it gets a little lighter, down by the horizon line. So we kind of want to mimic that a little bit. Get kind of a gradient upward for it to be darker. All right, now I'm going to mix up some of that mountain color, which is kind of more on the bluer side. But it's quite dark. It's a little darker than that. Yeah, that's going to be like way off in the distance back there, so I want to add a lot of blue into it. Keeping it kind of light. May even go a little lighter with it, just to push it a little bit more than the photograph. And keep with the theme of like mountains where it kind of gets a little bit more sky, a little bit lighter towards the edge of the next mountain, and then it gets darker as it goes up. Pretty sure that's an optical illusion, but it's nice to put it in there anyway. Because as it gets down here, the contrast between this and this is much greater than like the sky and that, so it just appears darker or whatever. Soften the edge of the mountain a slight bit, just to push it back even further. And then we'll add more red into this mountain, make it more purple into the next mountain. The little mountain back here, way, way back in the distance. And actually, just trying to figure out what's going on with these. Okay, this is part of this mountain here. There we go. Yeah, so I'm putting a little bit more purple or violet into this next mountain. It's coming forward more than the previous one. Just trying to keep it really, really simple in the beginning. Or this technically isn't the beginning anymore, but I feel like I overcomplicated it a little bit on the first pass on this. Get real purple and warmer towards the with a little bit of cad red. I'm going to introduce that for the first time. A little bit of cad yellow into the violet because we're getting some like a little bit of sun flare, in the mountain up here. So that's causing a little bit more warmth in the top of the mountain here, which is I like a lot. So I'm gonna, put that in there. I believe that's from the flare from the camera, but it kind of looks nice. Yeah, so we're getting some nice atmosphere back here now. And, there's some catches of light on some of these mountains that I'm going to get in there, later. Just trying to get the overall feel of the thing first, which I think I missed initially, which is why I don't think I liked this very much at first. All right, now in the foreground, we're going with a lot more color, a lot more yellows and reds, way warmer, but still on the green side overall because the mountain has a lot of trees on it. So starting off in the back, it's going to have more purple and green in it up against this mountain, up against this purple mountain here. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Yep, there we go. Hey, we're just going in like small steps, painting like the big broad shapes of the mountains and making sure that they're receding in space like that. And then I'm going to get it a little bit warmer and more yellow as it comes all the way into the foreground. Cool. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Go a little bit more cad red and cad yellow here for like the top up here. Just adding a little bit of color variation. All right, I'm going to go back to that purple mountain behind the one I just painted because I want to add a little bit more lightness where it touches this mountain. Just adds to that like smoky mountain effect. Sweet. And now I'm going to scumble some blue-green tones, a little bit of red in there. Just you want to get these rocks like really, colorful and lit up. Because we got sunlight, and if these rocks are in shadow, they got all these nice blues and cool colors in them, which will be really nice. I want to keep varying the color a lot because these bricks are a little bit, different in color and temperature. Sometimes the goal isn't to finish the painting, like I don't think that's my goal tonight. I think my goal tonight is just to get it working better than it was working before. Now if I take some cad red light, mix it with my blue green, I'm gonna get like a nice deep dark color, which I'm gonna put in some areas, namely here and a little over here, just to get some of those darker areas of the brick. This is the fun part. where you see all your mistakes from the layer before and putting all the paint on to correct it. Yeah, and I want to get some highlights in there on the brick just to see what it's going to look like. And that's where I'm going to save kind of like the most warm areas, I think, from the sunlight. So I'm going to go pretty epic here. Trying to make a neutral, like really warm color. So I'm mixing like cad red yellow together and cad red light, and then cooling it down with a little bit of blue green, just to get a starter reflection on some of these rocks, or starter glow. I think I'm really gonna have it like hit like right here, right on that area. Most interest is there, and then kind of lighten up my touch over here. Go really hot there. And then I'm going to go super sky color on the floor. Like a really neutral, cool gray. Because that's in shadow as well. But it's kind of quite illuminated even though it's in shadow. It's a lot of bounce light and stuff. So I don't want to like have it dark like I have it right now. So this nice, maybe even more red in it, so it's not so blue-green. It's in the foreground too, so we also want it to be kind of warmer. Awesome. I'm just going to go in with the full, just kind of blocking this whole section here. And then mix kind of like a value below that and kind of put it along the edge here. And then get these kind of like, I don't know, designs. Maybe from like fixing the sidewalk or something. Sweet. Not exactly where I want it yet, but it's got a nice feel to it. I like the colors a lot better. Put this, some of these darker where the bricks are being stacked up. Try to make them a little bit irregular. It's all kinds of different sizes of bricks here. All right, now I'm going to try to carry some of this light here up into the mountain. It's going to be a little tricky getting the light color of the mountain, but I'm going to give it a try. Cad red, a little bit of blue green, and a little bit of cad yellow to warm it up. Don't want that yellow to go too green. And then, we're going to get a little bit of action on these trees here. A little bit more blue-green in the light where it's catching. The light is catching here a little bit. Trying to vary the greens quite a bit in this lighter area. Trying to just keep it interesting. I'm certainly not a mountain painting expert. I'm trying to mix the highlight color on the mountain back here, which is a tough color because it's got a lot of like the purple in it. It still has to be in the background, but it's also green. Landscapes are always harder than I think they're going to be. Yeah, this is not easy. I'm going to get a clean brush. I'm going to grab some of that white from the clouds and kind of shorten this mount a bit. Trying to shorten this other mountain here too. Thank you so much. Waving at you, waving at you. I gotta step back and see how this is looking from a distance. We're like right up on it, you know? Move this back a bit. It's all right. It's still dark. I think I can go a little bit more um, crazy with the colors. I'm like being a little bit conservative with the colors, I think. Like this mountain color is quite purple, you know? It's almost like this. It's almost like this color. Let's see what this looks like. That's a nice color. Damn. That's a great purple. Yep. And now I can make a bluer version of that. Put that here. But yeah, that's a way nicer color there. It's a lot more blue as it goes back here. And then maybe even like more blue in the back mountain. Putting more blue in the mountain in the background and more sky color to push it back even further. Not getting the atmosphere that I want right now. That's more like it. And then add some of the lighter value at the edge like we did last time. Get that fog effect. Go back to simplifying this mountain. Got a little bit too messy with all that other stuff in there. I really like this pink violet color here. This looks really nice here. Cleaning off one of my brushes so I can use it to soften the clouds. Because they're all kind of a little bit harsh at the moment. Mixing a little bit of cad yellow into the white of the clouds to get a little bit of warmth over here. I got so much cool down that I think adding a little bit of that yellow as a contrast is nice. Trying to keep the clouds nice and wispy, kind of just blending it into the background. On the other pass of this painting, I had everything kind of like really sharp. A lot of sharp edges, even in the clouds. I think it looks a little bit nicer if they're a little bit more soft and subdued. And then, keep some of these sharper edges for like the rim light on the clouds. It's nice to like soften everything and then kind of come back in there and cut back in some sharper edges, where you want some like really sharp edge light and stuff. Add some of these cloudy shapes in here. It's fun to like design it to make it a little bit more interesting. See, this is a quite sharp edge here, which I like, coming up against the sky. So I'm going to kind of keep that edge sharp in there. And maybe this little edge right here of the cloud like swooping up. It's having those nice little pockets. Sounds like up here somewhere. Wouldn't hurt to have some, downward strokes. Add a little bit of pink and warmness into the sky color there. Kind of make it nice and like dreamy, you know? Little orangey in this area, pinky orange. It's nice that the whole thing is kind of like more cool, and then you add these little like specks of warmer color, in some areas. Because it's all about like, I feel like the warm and cool when you get to clouds. In order for those white areas to pop out, they have to be either cooler or warmer than the base of the cloud. Sick. Add a little bit of warmer tone to this little shadow here in the cloud. Flatten the top of this mountain. Yeah, this is kind of how loose and free I wanted the last one to be. Or I wanted the last layer to be, I should say. Getting a little bit of perspective on the bricks. It's adding some nice stuff there. Just putting a little bit of light on this mountain. Trying to get rid of this like really hard edge up here. Some of these bricks got a little bit light. So although they're getting a lot of bounce light, they're still on the shadow side. So try to mix up a nice dark color for the cracks in the, I don't know what you call it, it's like a wall in the wall. Put a couple of these in. It'll help out distinguish where the bricks break up and stuff. Putting a nice warm color down for that. Not sure why, it just feels right to have it more like red in those cracks. I think it's because everything is so blue over here. So adding in that little bit of warmth to make those separations in the bricks is good. Adding a little bit of purple to the floor here. Tie it together with that purple mountain. I think this edge, even though I kind of like it, is a little bit too like sharp there. A little bit more blue up here, I think. All right, let me take a step back a little bit here. I feel like I'm too close to this. I need to separate this mountain a little bit more. This guy. Yeah, not exactly going how I wanted it to go, but I think it's better. Oh yeah, I'm sure you do know that spot, Greg. It's like a good spot. Was that fucking is it Craggy Pinnacle, or it's a really short walk, but it's like up. It's up. It's steep, well, not steep, but it's like, and then it goes up to the top. It's usually pretty crowded up there. You get like a 360 view. Fucking can't remember. Yeah, it's a good spot. I'd like to paint up there next time I'm there. I didn't even like think to paint up there. I always just like go to look at the view. That'd be like a sick place to paint for sure. Craggy Dome, yeah, something like that. That sounds familiar. Craggy Dome, Craggy Pinnacle, something like that. Yeah, it's very short drive from Asheville. I go to this place a lot when I'm in North Carolina, in the Asheville area, because it's like, you know, such a short drive, easy hike with like an incredible view. I bet people just hanging out up there, like in your painting up there, everybody's just like, holy shit. Be cool to paint up there during the sunset, because it's like a wicked sunset up there. Gotta be fast with it though. Nice. Yeah, I bet you by Rich's house, he's got some like awesome views. Man, that'd be like the best place to paint a sunset, because around here, by the time the sun sets, you can't see it uh because it goes like behind the buildings or whatever. But when you're there, you can see like the entire sunset. So that'd be epic to like paint it, because I feel like you'd have a longer time to capture it. You know what I mean? I mean, you know what I mean. You've done it. See what happens if I come in here with like a really, really yellow color with a little bit of green mixed in it. Because I'm really trying to catch some light here. And I don't want to go like too weird. Maybe make it a little bit warmer. As it goes out, a little bit warmer. But that initial spark of light to be like that greeny color. I love having the base down and then just like laying on these like golden colors with the nice rich base that you have down, and then kind of just like expanding outward to really get that light effect. Oh man, that's fucking glowing. Shit. Nice. Greg's about to go live too. Sweet. I should have asked him if we should like join our lives together. I'm not sure if you can do that though. Yeah, that was a good fucking color right there. It's like a nice cool green color. Not that color. It's almost like pure yellow. Yeah, okay, there it is. Just like tapping it a little bit there. Catching a little bit of that light on the edge here as well. And then, inside of this green area, this dark green area, we got a little bit of like a little something, which I think is going to add. It looks a little weird that it's just like this dark shape. It's like black hole of a shape. Adding a little bit of a fill to it. And a little bit of texture. I think at least help tie it together a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Fuck yes, now it looks more like a shadow. Which is what I was trying to make it look like in the first place. Ooh, there we go. Fucking hell. About goddamn time. So now it looks like the light is coming, casting a shadow here and then kind of catching a little bit there and then catching here, you know? And it's that sun from this area. So I'm really trying to just concentrate that light up in this region here. And I finally got some nice light effect on the mountain. Fuck. Yep. That's pretty nice. And I feel like there's a nice vignette around here, but in the sky there's not so much of a vignette, and I think it would be worth it to maybe do some glazing up there, or make it not so bright, but only bright in this area here, just so we have a concentrated light effect up here. Fucking hell. Can't believe it like takes like the whole goddamn painting to get to that where that one, like, it's like it doesn't look great, it doesn't look great, it doesn't look great, and then you put that like one little area in there, and it really makes it shine. It's always good to have an idea. Like I had an idea as I was painting this of like, like I really want this lighting effect here, which is happening, which I'm exaggerating from the photo. Like this isn't like this like intense here, but I think it looks nice. And now I want to try something to emphasize that lighting effect. We'll see if it works. I don't have any more of that green mixed up, so it may not work. But I'm going to mix up a light color for this mountain. It's going to be pretty green to contrast the purple that's already there. I tried to put this down before, just like didn't work out very well. Not really that sold on it right now either, but maybe I'm just not mixing the right color, or I'm just not going strong enough with the contrast, or not making it blue enough. All right, it's reading a little bit better. Tricky part is going to be highlights on the back mountain, because that mountain's pretty blue, so got to go pretty high key with it and yellow, I think. Kind of making this shit up. Yeah, a little bit of light sitting back there on that mountain. Sweet. That worked out all right. I don't want to go too crazy with it. Just a couple of few marks, on there. Awesome. Sick, sick, sick. Yeah, it's all about the lighting effects, man. And it can be something as simple as just like what I'm doing here, where I'm just like putting this like vignette around the thing, you know? I'm even going to put a vignette down here on the bottom a little bit. A little bit on this side and a little bit on this side. Yeah, there we go. Keeping these nice little like textures here. It's like adding some, you know, texture to the ground a little bit. Just to break up the surface. Damn. That is a nice glow focal point there. Fuck. Oh man, went from a painting that I despise to like a painting I really really like. I'm gonna lighten up this shadow color of the cloud here, just so ever so slightly. And I'm just gonna do that by mixing up a lighter tone, lighter purpley, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of like a warmer tone here, and kind of like scumble it over the darker shadow. Just trying to up its value a little bit and warm it up a little bit, I guess. Yeah, it was like almost like a dark, ominous cloud looming before. Mix up some that purple color, kind of lighter purple color, purple red. Kind of brush that over. This color palette ended up working out really nicely for this painting. I was a little bit skeptical with like the absence of a blue color, but who needs it? With all these like warmer, purpler tones around, um, like the the blue green kind of looks blue anyway. So get away with using a get away with just using a blue green and not a blue, which is nice. And these clouds ended up being so much better. Nice and soft and fluffy. They look dreamy now. That's the best way I can describe it. Dreamy. Do a little bit of this blue sky color in here. That still had a little bit of the old color in there. Catch a little bit of the edge. So there's like a lot of rim light on these clouds. I'm not trying, I don't want to go overboard with it, but it's nice to add a little bit of like these swooshy, you know, kind of stuff in there. Not really too necessary for that one. Just shove that one in there a little bit more. Come back in with the light cloud color here. Nice. And get a little softer edge here. And over here. This needs to be a little bit more wispy there. All right, a little bit of get back a little bit further. Yeah, that's got a nice glow to it. Cool. I think I might almost be close to done with this one. At least for tonight, but I want to brighten up this a little bit more here in the sky. Just in this area. Where the sun is coming down. Get a little bit more exposure there. Some more pink tones in the sky. Yeah, a little bit of haziness there is nice. Kind of goes with the whole, where the sun's coming from theme. This cloud's got a lot of backlight underneath it. Just trying to keep the light in this area. Keeping that glow. It's a beautiful thing about oil paint, getting that nice glow to the paint. Nice glowy light effect. Awesome. Man, looks like a dream. Like it looks like what when I was like it almost looks like when I was there. That's like really hard to capture, but it was just fucking epic. Every time I go to this spot, it's epic as fuck. Just jaw dropping. And it would be like, I think, impossible. Not impossible. I've seen people paint like really incredible mountains that I'm like, yep, that's what it feels like to be there. You get that scale right, you know? Scale's the toughest part. Put people in it and stuff, that helps. But that's why I really like tried to push back um, in the photograph, like this mountain, and this mountain are almost like the same exact value. But I had to you got to like separate them if you want it to go back in space. Like this has to be a lighter, bluer value, and then it gets more, I think, yellow in it as it comes forward, and the yellow goes away. And the last thing to drop off is the red, I believe. So it's like there's more yellow in the foreground, and then as it goes back, you lose a little bit of the yellow, which gives you like these nice purple tones, and then the purple, the yellow, and the purple, or the yellow and the red kind of drop off in the background, so it gets more blue in the background. At least that's my limited understanding of landscape painting. Oh, what's that little bugger there? That would have drove me nuts for a long time. All right, fuck. Ended up turning out all right. I think this one turned out a-okay. There was it was a struggle for a while there, trying to figure out, you know, how to do it. But I think with the color palette, I tried to keep most of the thicker brush strokes in this kind of area where the light is. So thicker brush strokes here on the clouds, and then over here you got some nice texture. So I think it held up nicely. It was, when I step back, it looks really nice. It wouldn't hurt to maybe put like a sort of like a vignette around it. But I think I have a natural vignette happening. So thank you for sticking around. A reef it. I wish I could like pronounce your name so that I could just say your name. But I'm sure I'm butchering it, and I apologize for that. But thank you for sticking around and hanging out while I painted this. I'm also going, if you are interested, I am posting this on YouTube as well, so you can watch me mix all the colors too. I mean, I basically had a blue green, which was ultramarine and yellow ochre mixed together. And then I had a cad red light, or cadmium free red light. Cad red light's the same thing. And then I had ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson mixed together to make a violet. And then I used yellow, cadmium yellow light, and then titanium white. And those were the four, uh, one, two, three, four, like the five colors that I used for this, which gave it a nice harmony. Like those colors are great. So it gave it a really nice harmony to the painting. Um, Having that four color palette, the violet, red, yellow, and blue green. So, and I was able to get some nice effects. And it almost looks, whenever I try to match like more realistic colors like that are in the photograph, um, it never looks that great. But then when I use like a color palette or a color scheme, and then I paint with that, it looks more like natural in a way because the colors just jive together better, like in nature, I guess. I don't know. So that'll be it for tonight. I think this was a pretty successful painting session. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, like thinking, oh no, this is not going to work out. This is not going to work out. This is not going to work out. And then at the end, it kind of all came together. So thanks for hanging out. Um, I will post this on YouTube, Jeremy Lasilla Art. That is my YouTube name, and I will post the entire thing on there in a long format, so you can see the palette and the painting if you're interested. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good night or morning or wherever you are.